Okay, it's, oh, okay, we're gonna call to order the September 13th, 2023 Ware Conservation Commission meeting at 7:05. I'm gonna be the acting chair, Steve Najar. Over to my left, we got Ray LeMay, and to the right, we've got Sherry Burdick, Mike Camacho, and Mark Phillips. So, and kind of keeping with our usual custom, we're going to have our guests come up and present. I guess Andy and Wendy, you guys got anything, or are you? Okay.
Thank you. Vice Chair, Acting Chair Major, Andy Fulton. This is an odd situation tonight that I'm not sitting as chair, but I've been told that I cannot, so I am not. I do want to share with the commission that I am keenly interested in re-upping. I am sharing my volunteer form with the town administrator. Sure. The administrator would like you to sign it. You can cross my name out if you like. But I would like the minutes, the record to reflect that on October 5th, 2020, as referenced in the Board of Selectmen minutes from October 5th, 2020, we have a section, reappointment to Conservation Commission. Andy Fulton's term expired in March. He filled out a form to be reappointed, electronically signed along with the board's required ethics form. Vice Chairman Hippler moved, Chairman Meany seconded to reappoint Andrew Fulton as a member of the Conservation Commission for a term of 3 years, passed 5-0. That was October 5th, 2020. It has not been 3 years. I understand that administratively, the town has chosen, the selectmen have chosen to mark the March as the end date of appointments. I feel like I was blindsided with this, and that October 5th being ahead of us reflects that, according to the terms of the town administrator, I have not completed a 3-year term. With that, I will turn the podium over to your next guest. I am saddened by the way this has been handled. I am eager to continue to serve, to work with you guys.
So, who makes that decision right now to be seated or not be seated? Because if that was a 3-year appointment, then don't I just move out of the way and you can sit down?
I don't think we'll have the answer to that, but if you want to try to get an answer from the town administrator, that's your prerogative.
We don't know, or,
I'm not here to make any decisions. I can't make any decisions.
but I mean, if it's a 3-year appointment, is it a 3-year appointment?
We go through this every year.
As I
Yeah, I know we tried to get them all
watched the
lined up.
selectmen's meeting, I did not see the selectmen say, and Mr. Fulton shall not sit or continue as a member of the Conservation Commission until this is corrected. I saw on video very directly that he could continue his duties without the word duties being used. So I leave you with a little bit of a protest, and I'm only leaving the podium. I don't plan to disengage from the meeting, but I just want that to be recognized.
All right, members, so what do you want to do? I mean, I'm comfortable with seating Andy. I think it's kind of bogus. Whatever you guys want to do, if you want to make a motion, or if not, we can carry on if you think that's going to jeopardize something, or...
I don't know, where does it put us in,
I just found out at 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, it was pretty late
Got
for
the
me.
email at 5 o'clock. I wasn't gonna come to the meeting tonight because I've had a hard day, and we're gonna have a hard day tomorrow. But in spite of that email, I figured I would come to have a quorum. So, I've never had a situation, well, I haven't been here long enough to have a situation like that.
Sherry, your thoughts?
Well,
You sat in on the meeting, so.
yeah, I was under the impression that he was gonna be here tonight, and that on Monday, we had a work session coming up on Monday night, and that he was gonna come in and be reappointed. That was what I thought went on.
Steve,
I can't pull up good. I can't pull up the actual minutes on my phone. I'm still having that. Can't connect with the internet. Do you have a copy of those minutes?
Absolutely. To take the dilemma away from you, I would like to honor the request, but be able to speak as a resident, if that would be to the commission's pleasure.
All right, that's fine, if that's what you want to do.
Yep.
All right, well, thanks, Andy. Yeah, I mean, here's the appointment letter if anybody wants to look at it. I mean, the appointment minutes there.
Yeah, you're all set with this. I'll pass that along.
Yep. All right, anyhow, I guess Andy solved that, no sense plowing through this thing. So yeah, next up, Brian wants to talk to us about, a request for, a logging job and using some access on town-owned land. Oh, can we, Wendy, is there any, tell me,
Could I just add something on this? Okay.
sorry, Brian.
That's okay. It took me a minute, I'm sorry, to consider this. My name is Wendy Fulton. I live at 37 Hemlock Drive. I believe all of you are aware that I am Andy's wife. We've been married for 29 years now. So it's a long time. And he's been here for over 21 years. And I know this because my oldest daughter is 21 and a half, and I was pregnant with her when he decided to join Conservation Commission. And he did so because there were things going on in the town, and we looked at each other and we said, this is the town we're raising our children in. And we want it to be a beautiful place for our children to be raised in, and our children love this town, and we're so grateful for it, and we're grateful for all that you guys do. I'm a little taken aback because Andy was actually out of town Monday night, and I was watching the meeting with my children on TV, the selectmen's meeting. And I was listening to what went on, and I was like, okay, they are saying this is procedural, no big deal. Andy just needs to re-up, and procedurally, he just needs to come in and redo papers, whatever. And so I told Andy about it, and he's like, but I took the oath, I don't understand, I was sworn in. I think by Maureen, but I don't know. But he was sworn in. So I'm like, well, if you were sworn in, then you should just be fine, right? And he's like, well, I guess so. And Andy and I have a very open with each other relationship, and sometimes we'll look at each other's email. And this was a case where I saw an email from the town administrator saying something that sounded really different to me than what I heard on TV. And there was actually no vote taken by the selectmen at all, asking him to step down. There was no vote taken, correct?
Correct.
It's not,
There was no vote taken, and there was
It
nothing
was-
said that he couldn't come to a meeting.
it was a discussion that Mr. Cahill started, saying, okay, I've noticed that he was up in whatever the date is, March, And he wasn't reappointed. Let's discuss this. Okay, it's just procedural. He needs to come back in. To receive an email day of meeting from town administrator saying something that's different than what actually happened in the meeting, I find that very disconcerting as a town resident. Forget about the fact that I'm married to him. As a town resident, I find it very disconcerting that what I saw in an email, and I would have a right to see it, because there's a whole right to know whatever, is different than what was presented in the meeting. And so while Andy has said he'll step down and not make a challenge or have an issue for you guys, I ask you as a town resident to please actually consider this, what was said in the meeting, what I saw live at my home on Channel 6 Monday night during the meeting, what I revisited tonight and revisited several times with my daughter's computer whiz kid girl who can pull it up on YouTube because I can't, where I looked several times. There was no vote asking him to sit down, and there was no actual comment of he couldn't serve. It was just, this is procedural. And so, being married for 29 years, he's not a guy to make a fuss. He's a guy to step back, and I know that. As a town citizen, I have issue with the fact that he has actually been asked to sit out the meeting. Because I know it wasn't voted on at the meeting. So I just don't think that's appropriate. So I ask if you could perhaps discuss it amongst yourselves and do whatever voodoo you have to do to discuss it. But that's just my request to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. Yeah, I mean, I think, in light of Andy, not wanting to force the issue right now, which I'm more than happy to, I don't think there's much we can do further. But in any event, I appreciate what you had to say, and, equally concerned. Anyone else have anything you'd like to say?
It will get brought up Monday night at a work session.
Okay, yeah, there you have it. Weird situation, for sure. Okay, next up. Brian, tell us kind of what you got going and
Sure.
what you're proposing.
Thanks for having me. My name is Brian Camo. I'm a licensed professional forester out of Dunbarton, representing Sherry Burdick. She has a parcel of land that's landlocked between the high school and a conservation parcel on Pine Hill Road. I submitted a cover letter, map, some photos, and an example of a temporary access agreement to request temporary access for the purpose of removal of forest products through Pine Hill Road, through an existing gravel woods road that passes about 2,000 feet on town-owned conservation land and enters through a existing opening in a boundary stone wall into Miss Burdick's property for a timber harvest scheduled for likely this winter if access can be secured. So I've done this many times in the past using the attached temporary access agreement and hold harmless and indemnity form. But of course, the town is welcome to prepare their own. The photos show that it is existing wood road. It was used for past logging operations once upon a time. Most recently, they didn't truck on it. They skid timber down it for an old timber harvest on conservation land. The road is existing gravel, has some saplings that have grown in, and does have a few small drainages that cross, seasonal water runoff that, some culvert should be installed. So what we're proposing is that Ms. Burdick is fully responsible for the upgrades and improvements to the road to gain access, and then responsible for the closeout and restoring the road to its in as good or better condition when the project is complete, which will be an improvement to the road. In addition, right now there's no gate, so entering this road would certainly expose it more to probably unwanted traffic. So we'd also offer to install a gate or block it with rocks, but collaborate with the town to get access into this landlocked parcel, and return the site to whatever conditions we agree upon between the town and Ms. Burdick. So if there's any questions, I don't know how long, I know we presented that letter about a month ago, but I don't know who's seen it and how much time you guys have had to review it.
Of course, we see it.
They just saw it tonight.
Okay. So I don't know if there's any other questions or discussions.
Would you be skidding out the road, trucking or forward?
Trucking only, yep. So all the log yard processing and logging would be kept onto Ms. Burdick's parcel, and only trucks would be passing through the conservation land.
The plan to do this is in the wintertime when the ground's frozen.
Fall,
Yeah, fall through the winter.
October, they're hoping, because all of the seed, the pine trees are full of seed right now. They'd like to,
Realistically, it would be probably about a 3-month operation. So it would be fall and it would spill into winter. So depending on, approval processes, securing access, filing permits, getting things ready to go, starting as soon as possible in the fall and trying to be out of there before,
spring.
before spring.
Mud season.
Be done and gone, 1st of March would be the goal. But I do think 3 months should be budgeted for completing the work.
Sherry, is that the same road that they would use if they harvest in there later on that property?
Yeah, I think what they're gonna do is, it would have to be if they had to go back in, but I think at this point, they're gonna try to take out anything that's, fairly good growth. And then, if they do it start in October and they get the seed, from the pine trees and stuff down, and then, they probably will be in there, through into, I'm guessing in toward March is what he thought. Just depends on the weather, because if it's rainy weather, they're not gonna go in there and make a mess. We don't want the ground, all messed up.
Yeah. What I would propose is
I would-
the temporary access agreement would continue to March 1st, March 15th, with the option to extend. If we get to the end and the project's
it's-
incomplete or
yeah.
the weather didn't cooperate, we can regroup.
In this fall, the following
regroup,
fall or something.
And try to get
Yeah.
it extended. But I think realistically, if an agreement could be made for access, at this meeting or, the next month's meeting, that's plenty of time to get the project complete by March 1st.
Does it look like the road is good enough to support the weight of the trucks without just kind of sinking out of sight, or?
It does, yeah, there's a gravel base. It does seem to be a fairly popular hiking trail, so it's an old gravel road, historically, and then they skid on it during a past logging operation, and now it seems to be a somewhat popular hiking trail. But it does have a good road base, but I think some of the pictures show it, but some of the crossings, they just used undersized piping, like PVC piping and stuff to water. That should be pulled out and actual culverts installed and stone material added. And all that improvement cost and aggregate and materials, like I said, would be the responsibility of Ms. Burdick, including the closeout. So a site inspection could be completed, by the commission at the end, and we could come up with a closeout plan and what condition you want it in and what that entails. And like I said, I would recommend some sort of blockage at the end of Pine Hill Road where the kiosk is, whether we block it with boulders or install a gate. It's the commission's, whatever they prefer.
So if we're connecting into, you're proposing to come off and jump onto essentially the circle on the end of Pine Hill Road versus going down to our log landing, that comes out onto 77 itself.
Correct.
Any reason for not just running down that road?
I haven't seen that distance, I haven't measured it. The thought was the shortest path and path of least resistance. So in the past, they skid
Yeah, I
to
get
that
it.
landing. So to skid the timber from Miss Burdick's to that landing would be inefficient.
I thought you just said you're using, so backing that up again, I thought the log land was on her property and you're just running log trucks on this road.
Right. which
So-
is the shortest path. So to go from 77 to her land, to improve that for trucks, would be a longer length of road to improve.
Yeah, I don't think you have to improve much. I don't know if you walked it or no.
No, not all the way down to 77.
Yeah, it would have been worth walking it. It's not bad. Yeah, it's a pretty solid road going all the way down through to the gate, and the gate's plenty wide for a log truck. So you're gonna be able, you bring a tractor trailers or just triaxles up in there?
Tractor trailers.
Yes, I mean, you're gonna be able to get those up that road there. I mean, I don't see why you couldn't get up the other road either.
Okay, that can certainly be explored. I think it comes down to, yeah, our view was the shortest path of least resistance. But if the town's open to more length, more disturbance,
Well, I mean, it's,
the roads is just.
we've
as
skidded
good.
down that road, and,
Yeah.
with I don't know if the last time was cut to length. We had a whole tree job in there
Yeah.
too, but, yeah, I don't think that's so much the issue. I mean, I think, like, there's that rock up there. Did we ever end up getting that thing? Yeah, I mean, so just disturbing, if that cul-de-sac area gets messed up during the job versus just running down an existing woods road that we've already used for logging. And there's a real push to kind of, to keep these roads open too for recreation use. So there's kind of a mutual benefit there if there's no, yeah, I mean, because, I had a brief discussion with Sherry about, and I originally thought you guys were talking about skidding onto our property, but just running a log truck up there, I mean, if you can do it, it's like kind of a win for everybody if there's not too much work involved with it.
Yeah, I haven't walked the one down to 77 to see if there's any more crossings or culverts, but it can certainly be explored.
Yeah, it's way better going, between that cul-de-sac, basically where you're stopping, going down, it's pretty good. Really good, actually. And there, yeah, I know what you're talking about with those small crossings. So so when you're putting, pipe in there, you plan on, so do a forestry notification, will that stuff stay, or is that gonna get
Yeah, I know
yanked
the
out?
notification, because can be a long-term woods road.
Yeah.
For both parties.
Yeah.
Yep, so that can stay,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, that would be kind of my main suggestion, would be to look at using that other access. And we've used it plenty of times. There's a huge landing down there, so if you gotta park a truck or something down there, stage stuff, that's not too hard to do.
Yeah.
Probably less complaints from all the people on Pine Hill Road too.
Yeah, I'm thinking like breaking pavement and stuff like
Yeah.
that too, when you're going up on it with a tractor trailer, So, yeah, you're avoiding that. Then we got one neighbor in there that we have a shared driveway with at the cabin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what's their, I bumped it. Huh?
Just two of them,
Did they end up building a house there?
they're building.
Oh, that was, Cherry, right, and Mike? I think I saw them out there. Yeah, so anyhow, there's a couple neighbors down the end, but, so, I mean, if they, if you end up banging up the road, they'd probably just, it would be good to York rake it or something.
Yep.
So I don't know, if we can do a contingent approval, I guess so in the past, we had one mutually beneficial access with Meadowsen, and then one that just benefited Meadowsen, and Meadowsen, I think, paid us some dollar amount for the access. So I don't know if, if there's any proposal. I mean, I guess you would be, so you wouldn't need to install a gate if you use the existing gate. So I don't know kind of what's fair, or what you have for a suggestion on what you usually do with what you've done with other landowners.
I've done it both ways. In this situation, the road's gonna get improved, permanent crossings installed, so there's certainly a cost
Yeah.
already, an investment by Ms. Burdick there, that will mutually benefit the town, but if an access fee on top, I'm sure it could be negotiated or considered. But typically, it's pretty low, especially
Yeah.
for a truck road. If it's not,
Yeah.
the disturbance will be minimal. And like I said, the improvements will be, essentially permanent and to the town's benefit. So that investment and cost might be adequate in lieu of a deposit. I also do road bonds commonly, so at least require like a performance bond.
All right.
To make sure that, the closeout does occur the way the town prefers. And if the contractor, who will be a third-party logging contractor for me, if the contractor decides to up and leave while we have their performance bond, and we'll just take that money and we'll go hire a contractor to fix the road.
Right, so you got the performance bond, just to be clear, not the town, right?
Oh, the town would hold it. The town can hold it,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd almost suspect that's more of a pain for us.
If it's more of a pain, then yeah, I can hold it.
'Cause I
We
think,
can state that in the access agreement, where it's held.
yeah, I mean, this is only my perspective, but I think we're pretty much just going on, good faith and knowing that you're a licensed professional forester and want to see a good job and continue a good reputation, you know?
So we can put that right in the access agreement, that I would hold the performance bond.
So, Naomi, who has the authority on this, us or the Board of Selectmen? Do we recommend to them to sign this, or do we sign it? It's on town forest.
I honestly don't know.
So do we want to do we could do a contingent authorization for me to sign it after consulting with the selectmen and I don't know if Laura needs to look at this. I guess,
I've never seen a temporary access.
yeah.
Can he draft it?
I think we had one with
We've had a-
Medicine, yeah.
With Meadowson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just hesitant to go ahead and, suggest
Yeah, I
that we're
think
going.
with the change in, I should explore that, the other section of road, update the map to represent that, and just make sure that it does seem sufficient, update any crossings, so you guys can see the full picture.
So do you want to come back and do that, or do you want us to try to do a contingent motion now?
Well, it sounds like if the road works for us, it sounds like the concept at least works for the town.
I think it does, but we haven't really voted on it or anything.
Yeah, no, I think that's,
Way to go, it's existing already.
Yeah,
that would be a good benefit to the town if, you'll have to go out and look at it, if it needs a
Yeah.
ton of work, I mean, Steve's, I think he's got a good word, if he said it's not gonna need a lot of work, it probably won't.
yeah,
So I think that'd be a good benefit to the town.
yeah.
And I think the traffic through the cul-de-sac would be better if it was not through the
Yeah.
cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
Yep.
Those people would tend to like that travel.
yeah,
If we can bypass it, that's the way to go.
yeah. So if I go walk it, just confirm it's adequate, update the map, and update, the temporary access agreement, maybe put an actual copy together and have that submitted before your next meeting without showing up, I mean, could I just submit that paperwork for you guys to review and sign, or bring to the selectmen?
Yeah, I mean, the best bet would, us, and we get to, to do a contingent approval now, if
Okay.
members are comfortable with that, and then just have you updated, have it go to legal, and we either, I think our motion would be something like, either we recommend to the selectmen that they sign it, or that we, we recommend, we authorize the chair to sign it, and then you don't have to wait for the next meeting, and I think we're all on the same page. So it's not really, problematic. There is some mutual benefit from the improvements, like you said. You're a licensed professional forester, so, that means something. So, yeah, I mean, that's the way I would rather do it, but whatever the,
I think we should just say, explore using the access road right on town land, get all the paperwork done, submit it to the selectmen to make sure that they agree with it also, and then it's good to go,
Yeah.
if they say.
yeah,
Basically, they need to know that we agree with it,
Yeah.
since we manage the land, and if we do, it'll be all on the paper, and the selectmen can verify that we did everything that we're supposed to.
and we need to find out who actually should sign this for the town, whether it's us or the selectmen. But, if we can recognize Andy for just a second.
I just wanted to point out, one thing that hasn't been mentioned, when you consider, the landowners looking to maintain a property for forestry. In general, we as a Conservation Commission have supported that. I certainly support that as an individual. But, when you balance out requesting a fee or some sort of payment to cover, I just think it's good for Commission to recognize the value in a road that would subsequent to upgrades. I think there might be one significant swale that could require some attention when thinking about moving tractor trailers, and Forester here will explore that. But if you're left, if we as a town are left with a road that is ready for, any piece of fire equipment in the town to traverse it, there might be a day somewhere down the road where we want to be able to get equipment into the woods, and having ready access for equipment to battle a wildfire is definitely an asset to the town. I hadn't thought of that earlier, just wanted to share that notion with the commission.
Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, I think that's what I'd like to propose and put in the agreement, that we'll do the performance bond, and then in lieu of a fee, it'd be the permanent road improvements. I don't know if the commission's okay with that, as I put together the paperwork.
Yeah, sounds good. So, and basically, if that's not gonna work, then you just kind of spec out, a gate similar to the ones we have, how you're gonna protect the entrance onto the paved road with log trucks, and then describe the road improvements. But I think clearly the commission's preference is to not do that, and to utilize we call that kind of the Old Pine Hill Road. I don't know if that's correct or not, but, and we've got, we've got the gate, we've got a great landing, you can, if you need to put some tractor trailers or anything down there,
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree with that. I'll go ground truth it and just make sure
Right.
it's feasible, and then update maps, paperwork, and get it submitted.
Okay, so someone's gotta come up with some sort of a motion to capture all of that.
Boy. How do you word that? I make a motion that the logging company,
It's,
well,
the agreement's gonna be with Brian, so he's,
Brian Dalton Mountain Forestry,
yeah. Or is it gonna be a share, it will be with you, right, Brian, the actual agreement, yeah.
shall utilize the existing Woods Road from the gate at Route 77 to access the landlocked property with necessary improvements to run tractor-trailer logging trucks up and down it, and the improvements will remain.
I'll say, yeah, there you go.
Okay, so, yeah, just for discussion, I'd like to propose modifications that we, and we authorize the chairman of the Conservation Commission or vice chairman, just in case, or to sign the agreement, or we recommend to the Board of Selectmen that they sign the agreement if they are the correct signatory authority.
Okay,
Second that.
second it.
Who seconded the first motion?
What?
Mark did?
Yeah, I mean, you got a girl that's trying to take minutes and she has no name tags, that's all. Meaning someone that watches the video, so I didn't hear who said it, that's all.
I think it was Mark, wasn't it?
Yeah, Mark second, the first motion, then we had discussion with the modification,
I just need to
yeah.
write down for our.
Yeah. So we had the modification that is either authorizes the chair, the vice chair to sign, or recommends to the Board of Selectmen to sign if they're the appropriate authority. So I think that is probably adequate,
Yeah.
and we'll do a roll call vote on that one. So, we just actually don't need roll call, but yeah, just everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Okay, Chair abstains. So we've got 4 in favor, 1 abstains, yeah. And motion carries, so that's good. And then, yeah, Brian, if you just have, just send that back to us with the updates, and we'll figure out who's actually got to sign it, and then we'll get it signed for you.
Yep, absolutely.
Sounds good, man.
Okay, thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you, Brian.
All right, good deal.
Just a little bit more so you guys know that, I've talked with the person that's gonna be cutting the logs, and, I've asked him to extend a trail, through wherever it's easier, down through that whole piece, so he'll make a loop, so
Oh, nice.
it'll kind of be open for the two of the reasons. For anybody that wants to hike it, I don't care. But the other thing is that the high school has asked me about the kids using it for hiking.
So this is that trail he talked about on your property, so you'll be able to make a loop, and then brush it and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And the high schools, they've asked to use it. The other issue is, I've talked with one of the science teachers just briefly, and possibly next spring sometime, or next fall, maybe letting every year the freshman class plant some amount, 200-300 species of trees in there. And then they can use it as a science project and go back every year and measure the growth and diameter, height, whatever.
Cool.
All right,
Don't plant any Japanese maple back there.
No, we're not doing that.
so I think we'll keep rolling with the forestry. Did anyone have any comments on any of the forest management plans, and does anyone want to make a motion to accept and approve them? Those are the ones that got emailed out like a couple
Yeah, a
months
while
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember having any issues.
I don't
I
either.
don't either.
Haven't looked at them for a while, so I don't remember any problems with it.
I was trying to be incognito.
Yeah, nice job.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Barden, Bartlett, and Chevy Hill forest plans.
I'll second it.
Okay, that's a, yes, the motion's been made to approve the Barden, Bartlett, and Chevy Hill forest plans, and any other comment? All in favor? Aye.
Like,
Okay, unanimous. All right, good deal. So, the next one is the Felch Farm harvest status. I've missed a few meetings, so I'm not completely up to date, but I got a rough idea of what's going on. And I did want to point out, I think there's kind of some misconceptions on the actual, there's a forestry services agreement that's been signed by the town with MTL. So I've heard that there is no contract. That's probably technically not correct. The way, just for the general public and for the commission members, that a town forest harvest is the oversight, marking, development is paid is actually from the stumpage revenue. So we don't pay out, for the project. The forester gets paid when the harvest happens. So there's kind of this expenditure that's out there. There is a signed agreement. There's essentially a contract. I don't know if Andy was able to dig that out, but it is out there. MTL has a copy. I don't have the signed copy, but just so everybody knows that misconception has kind of been flying around. I don't feel like there's anything that we should discuss on the harvest right now without, really, I think we need to have some council present to kind of walk us through, whatever's going on. I don't know how other members feel about that.
It's getting complicated.
Yeah, I would like to recommend that we request assistance from town council, to the Board of Selectmen, to walk through whatever goes on with the rest of this. I mean, personally, we've had a couple of different Freedom of Information Act, or whatever, the 91A, whatever it's called.
Right to know?
Yeah, and, haven't had a real direct, here's exactly what we need to do from council, and I don't know if there's actually a written town policy. So I'd like to kind of punt the rest of that and just make that request to the Board of Selectmen that we have town council support for the rest of, the duration of whatever goes on with that. I don't know if anyone wants to motion that, just to formally request that from the Board of Selectmen, but I think it would be appropriate.
Yeah, I would make a motion that we work with the Board of Selectmen a little closely on this Felch Farm project and council, just so that we can dot the i's and cross all the t's and do everything properly. And not go on hearsay and rumors.
Have we got a ruling as to who actually has authority on the town forest? I know we were waiting to hear back for a clarification, whether it's the Board of Selectmen or the Conservation Commission.
So there's a law, and if you look at the Conservation Commission handbook, it talks about either having a forestry committee, which where it doesn't, or that the Conservation Commission manages that. So in our case, it's always been the Conservation Commission. There is no Forestry Commission.
Well, there's been some discussion on the Board of Selectmen
Yeah.
as to, there's interpretations of two different ways, and we were gonna, Naomi, we're looking at town council on that. Is that ever been resolved?
I've been gone since Sunday. I just drove back and
Okay.
to come here. I wasn't in town.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
Notified that she was reached, but I haven't got the answer for 36 days, that's what you're asking.
Yes.
yeah, and then also just to walk us through 91A, because if you read, on the web, I mean, there's certain things like that were asked, like phone logs. I mean, I don't know what kind of phone log we're
I'm not
talking about.
that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the discussion as to who actually has authority for the timber sale.
Oh, I got you. You mean to sign the actual, yeah.
36A, it was the RSA, and we haven't got that definitive answer
good.
yet.
Go ahead, Andy.
If I may, 36A ties to 31-112, management, town and city forests. And this is what Steve was mentioning just moments ago. If a city or town has adopted RSA 36A, this is RSA 31:112, Part 2, the city or town forest may be managed by the city or town conservation commission with the tree warden, if any, as an ex officio member as determined by the legislative body. So clearly, we've adopted as a town back in the, what did we find, 67, I think, we were one of the early ones. The Conservation Commission, and it looks to me like state law says city or town forest may be managed by the Conservation Commission. It's a pretty short section, but I don't know why we've been unable to get town council to confirm or deny, and I've heard on the Board of Selectmen, there's disagreement amongst the board members as to just what that means. So,
Interpretation of that.
like Mark, it's a pretty simple RSA, not a whole lot to it.
So you said 36A?
36A is what authorizes and establishes, or authorizes the
She
establishment
was gone for 5
of a
weeks.
conservation commission.
She just got back September 5th.
Yeah.
And as far as speaking with town council, I had a brief discussion, I believe that was on Monday. I had a brief discussion today, and Monday was, well, send me the right to know, or Freedom of Information Act requests. She was not sure whether somebody else was working on that in-house in her absence, but got right back to me after I called, probably 3 hours later, got back to me and said, send that along, I'll look at it. She sent an email saying it's a legitimate request, honor it, provide documents that you have. That's what she'd recommend. Then today, trying to get some of the more basic questions like, reading of 31:112, I was told that further, basically I asked, how can we get our questions answered? And essentially I was told, well, she needs to be authorized by the Board of Selectmen, talk to Naomi in order to speak with us further, and she said, not billing the town anything for the discussion we had the other day, but I'm not able to move forward on anything without approval from the town administrator and/or, as she said, talk to Naomi. But ultimately, the Board of Selectmen would need to authorize. And perhaps you guys want to make a motion tonight to request formally of the selectmen some sort of budget, but it's a tricky thing because we have a point of contention potentially between the selectmen and the commission, and Laura will not be able to serve the commission in any sort of contested point. So I'm not sure how you guys get the answers to that basic question. And it is a very, very simple question. A, it all devolves to Board of Selectmen regardless of what 31:112 says. Or B, there is a significant role for the commission in the enabling legislation or the revised statute annotated for a conservation commission. So I don't know how we get that answer.
Well, can you
I
talk?
have not been able to, was impressed how quickly Laura got back to me. Equally quickly today was clearly, I can't help you without further authorization. And I think it ought to be stated for the record that I attempted, did not successfully reach the town administrator before speaking, calling directly the town council. Having spoken with her before, having been offered her direct line, it seemed a simple thing in a vacuum, essentially, to give her a call, and I was amazed that she had no awareness of what we were working on, which apparently, I find out subsequently, somebody else in-house at Mitchell Municipal had been working on, but apparently we still don't have a resolution on that, so I don't know where we go with it. Certainly, as a resident, would like to see the commission supported. As a commission member, I think our work requires it. So how do you go forward without that information?
Well, maybe where you're not, you can't contact our attorney, because they're representing the town and not the commission. Maybe you could go through the New Hampshire Municipal Association and get some answers.
Maybe.
Just a thought.
I did find out today that their hours are 8:30 to 4:30. So I got that far, but that did not result in any additional information.
So at the moment, at least as far as my concern and Ray's motion, which I think we probably ought to try to tighten up a little. Did anybody second that, by the way? Okay. Is, whatever's going on, I mean, you've got a contractor that's got an attorney that's asking for stuff. There's not really strong guidance, that I've heard. Obviously saw my email about don't use my email, my personal email. We'll get to that later. But, just to have some guidance from someone who knows what they're talking about, directly with us, I think is needed as we get into whatever is going on, and just at this point, we have no idea what, where this is headed or what the deal is. So, I don't know, Ray, if you could consider tightening up, maybe just, I was kind of hoping we could suggest to the selectmen that we would like town council to assist directly, with the Conservation Commission in managing this interaction with this firm's attorney. So I think that's what we need, when you got a lawyer involved, they don't want them talking to us or, directly. So, I mean, if we can kind of wordsmith that, or maybe kind of,
I don't know how to word it exactly, but how would I word that?
that we request the Board of Selectmen
Board of
authorize,
Selectmen to assist us with,
no, they just authorize
authorize
town council to
town
assist
council
with
to
this
assist
matter.
us.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll ask the Board of Selectmen to have town council assist us.
I second that.
Okay, I'd just suggest a minor modification that they assist with the Felch Farm harvest matter. We'll just call it for now.
Yep, to assist with the Felch Farm harvest matter.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, unanimous. Okay, so yeah, we really don't know anything further, what direction we're headed with that, and we will get, through this process, a copy of that FSA that was signed. If we could kind of keep going on forestry, I know it's further down, but just on the contract discussion, everybody okay with that? Skipping around a little here, just keep with the spirit of forestry. So, this has been going on for a couple of years. So basically, the way things are kind of structured is there's like a broad agreement. It's not even really like a monetary contract, but more of an agreement that has been batted around between Meadowsend, several different boards of selectmen, and town council. And so I think there was some confusion in some different boards, and the February 3rd, 2020 meeting minutes of the Board of Selectmen exempt the town forester from the town purchasing policy. So it's been exempted. I heard recently that the Board of Selectmen instructed Andy, our former chair for the night, that we were going to compete that, which we've already batted this around and worked on it for 3 years now, and had an agreement all ready to go. And then on the April 4th, 2022 Board of Selectmen minutes, we have authorization on page 9. I'll just read this out here. It's under contracts, administrator's report number 3. Town administrator, it says contracts, parentheses, lawn care, IT, cleaning services, and forester. Town Administrator Bolton stated that all the contracts were approved back in late fall 2021, which they were. She is now working with the vendors to make sure all the insurance certificates are in place and up to date. She's asking if the board would authorize Town Administrator Bolton to sign the contracts once proper insurance is in place versus making them wait until the next board meeting. Selectman Van moved, Selectman Burdick moved to authorize Town Administrator Bolton to sign the contracts for lawn care, IT, cleaning service, and forester once the insurances are in place, and report back afterwards, passed 5-0. So we've got the contract. It's been authorized for signature. That should be the end of it. So I just suggest that, I don't know, Sherry, if you could take that to the Board of Selectmen and say this is all over and done, and it's ridiculous to ask us to go after spending 3 years on
That's April 4th.
April 4th, 2022.
Okay.
And the town purchasing policy was modified February 3rd, 2020. You know, and a forester is much like, an engineer or an attorney's easier to compete than a forester, because an attorney's basically like hourly billing. A forester is giving you all this diversity of services. It's the professionalism. Continuity helps. There's not a big savings. And I think we batted this stuff all around, like at nauseum, when it was finally agreed to be exempted. And so I'd like to, take no action on the most recent Board of Selectmen direction to go compete this, because the Board of Selectmen already authorized the contract that was already been through legal and everything else to be signed. So I'd suggest that the commission actually make a motion that to remind the Board of Selectmen, based on their April 4, 2022 minutes, that they have already authorized this contract to be signed, and go ahead and sign it. That would be my suggestion, because just wasting our time. Anyone up for that?
Well, I can try. We'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen review the April 4, 2022 meeting minutes, which show the authorization for the signature of the town forester
Contract?
contract.
Maybe if you could, well, if someone wants a second, we'll have discussion.
Only thing, so if it wasn't signed, what was it saying? It was authorized to
It
sign.
was authorized to sign, but
If it wasn't, and never signed,
So they've modified the purchasing policy.
yeah,
It was authorized to sign. It doesn't stand anywhere, but reminding, we already went through this whole process and
Yeah.
you authorized, to sign it. So why would you undo that now?
well, did it ever get signed?
I never saw it. Did it ever get signed, Naomi?
No, because it was changed.
After April 4th?
Yeah, Jeremy updated the numbers. That's why I went back. We had no number of years. That's why I asked the board about it. We hadn't agreed on any number of contract years.
Oh, the years.
And then he reviewed the numbers that were on there, and those had to be updated.
Okay.
That's why there was a change made. That's why it went back to the board.
Okay,
That
so,
was 3 years, right, Naomi? Was it 3?
I don't remember the year, I mean, you're asking all this stuff. that
I know.
so
I
the,
haven't
bi-
even looked at anything. I just barely drove back here 3.5 hours, so.
the big point is, it was authorized and the actual, on February 3rd, 2020, the town purchasing policy was amended. That's even bigger than that. So if we could just finish this thing up and we're just recommending, hey, let's proceed with this. However we want to word that. Maybe we should work that, and, we didn't have a second. I mean, technically we should have a second, then have discussion and modify it, but however you guys want to do it. Those are the two important dates as far as their minutes go. And they could, they can change it next meeting and say no, but just reminding them, hey, that a lot of work already went into this.
Did you have a second?
No, we didn't, nope, there wasn't a second yet.
We're just trying to understand it all.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if I have that. That contract, a copy of it. I don't think I do. I don't think we ever got the contract back.
Yeah, we got electronic copies of it. Yeah, definitely. I can't get on anything here anymore for some reason, but,
That would have come back, though, before the 4th, right? Or after the 4th?
there was a whole bunch of versions floating around. Laura had looked at it, and then, like Naomi saying, it was probably it was the next year after the one Laura looked at or whatever. That gets adjusted yearly.
I don't remember the contract.
Yeah, yeah.
The last joint meeting we had with the selectmen, basically, they needed more time to look it over and make sure what was on the contract, and they hadn't done it yet. That's how it was left.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Last month.
Which one, which month?
last
The
month.
meeting we just had, a few weeks ago?
Yeah,
Oh, this is
Month
a
ago,
totally different board, though. I think they're not recognized and it was already,
done.
yeah, but again, so the contract, we don't have any signed contracts. That was a proposed contract that never was processed.
agreed.
So
And then the numbers would change.
And then the numbers were changed, but the question comes in is, currently, we don't have a signed contract.
We got
We
the,
proposed contract that was never signed.
It was approved
It was approved,
by the
but nothing was
selectmen,
ever signed.
but nothing was signed.
agreed.
So, my question to you there is this: we don't have a signed contract, no one has a signed contract, we haven't been able to produce one. So, there is no contract, because there's nothing signed. There's a proposed contract that hasn't been approved. No one signed it. The town administrator didn't sign it, Board of Selectmen haven't signed it. So currently, there is no contract with the forester.
Not true. Probably, let me explain this to you. I just try to say,
The
it,
contract that was shown to us,
so there's an
with its
agreement.
rates and stuff.
Yeah, there's that agreement, but the other thing, like we just discussed before, those forestry services agreements
Yeah.
that authorized work, that had dollar amounts in them, those are essentially contracts themselves.
Correct.
Those are signed, those are out there.
Yes.
So there's no overarching current agreement. The other one was 15 years old. So
Yeah.
the Board of Selectmen had us redo that. in February 3rd, 2020, they waived the town purchasing policy, because initially there was a lot of back and forth about trying to advertise this under the town purchasing policy.
Yeah.
So they waived it. You know, because that's so hard to do with, with a forester. We went through this big selection process in the past. And now, so what I'm trying to have us ask or remind is that on February 3rd, 2020, the Board of Selectmen waived the town purchasing policy.
Correct.
And on April 4th, 2022, they did authorize that to be signed. So it would be nice if they would go ahead and sign the updated version of it now.
Okay.
And not have us go back and try to
Hash it all out again.
yeah, that's all I'm trying to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Have them just review that notation.
Yeah, if they could review this and we suggest that they, sign the current version of that, however you want to word that, that's all I'm saying. So, because the impression that I got talking to Andy, and again, I haven't seen these meeting minutes or haven't watched them on YouTube, is the Board of Selectmen said go back and re-advertise the whole thing.
Yes.
Which seems absurd. After all that time we spent, getting this thing hammered out.
It's more involved than that.
It's a lot more involved than
A
that.
lot more involved than that. So, it's nothing for us to discuss here, I think it's a moment, but there's a reason they want us to do that.
Yeah,
In
I wasn't
Fletch
there.
Farm- In the Fletch Farm timber sale.
Right, so I mean, that's not, we're kind of locked in on that with the FSA.
Yeah.
But
Not
the
like
harvest
the
that was
forester.
supposed to happen.
Yeah, we are. We absolutely are. So again, the FSA, the way they're structured is on a timber harvest. So just, make sure we follow this. So that the layout of the harvest, the marking, and the administration are all spec'd out in the Forestry Services Agreement for the harvest.
Correct.
And,
He's supposed to be paid on the harvest,
yeah,
but we've authorized FSAs for him to do that work.
right. So that's a contract. And he has to get paid, based on that harvest administration.
No, he put a dollar figure for his prep time, for prep and harvest, and for doing the walkthrough.
We'd have to go back and look
We
at
have
that.
invoices that we authorized a month ago,
Okay, I could be off, but typically we pay for the, that's,
and it's supposed to be paid off the harvest.
right,
So his prep and management of the harvest is paid on the harvest.
right.
But he's putting FSAs in for hourly rate for prepping and getting the harvest ready to go.
I have to go back and look at that one. That's not my understanding on that one.
Well, that is, I didn't grab the wrong stack of papers, but we approved FSAs from the last meeting on that.
Yeah, it's
So
not,
that's where some of the problem arises. Are we under the FSA or are we under his contract agreement that's not signed?
yeah, the hourly you're saying, right.
Right.
But the FSA we're locked in on, that's the one we're signed, that we don't have a copy in front of us right now.
Okay. But that was only for prepping the timber harvest.
I believe it's prep administration.
No, it's just prep the timber harvest and doing the walkthrough.
I don't have it in front of me and I can't get at it anywhere, but, all right, so I guess we're not gonna solve this without having it.
No, we need to be clear on it, to where we stand, and to make sure that, because the understanding is FSA is an agreement for work that he's done, and it's a request for payment. Those are what those things that we've been approving.
The FSA itself is the authorization to do the work.
Okay. And I don't remember seeing that one.
Yeah, that's what they
I just see
are.
the billings that came in, Sherry gave us,
Yeah.
or Beth rather.
Yeah, I can't get at anything in here either, and I don't think I have that one, because that was a hard copy, that Andy had a copy, I believe he signed it, and Jeremy had a copy, so we have to
You
get
can
it.
email Beth and have her send them to you electronically, if you don't have them.
I think it would be Jenny at,
No, it was Beth sent all that
Beth.
stuff.
did she have that one too?
I
Yeah.
think so,
Okay.
I think.
I can't get at anything on my phone right now.
But it just, we need to be clear about what it is and what
Right,
we're asking the Board of Selectmen, we gotta be clear what we're asking for.
right.
And it looks to me as we don't have a signed agreement, a signed contract to be the forester. But we have
Right.
FSAs
Right,
with Meadows End to do work.
right.
So we just gotta clarify what that actually is and what are we asking the selectmen for?
Well, I think what I'm suggesting is we ask the selectmen to approve that overarching agreement and base it on that they had waived the purchasing policy on 5/3/2020, and that they had authorized the actual contract to be signed on April 4th, 2022, the overarching contract.
Okay.
So that's just a suggestion, we could, rather than going out and through some competitive process and redoing that.
Yeah, we need to get a hold of that last one, the most recent one that was updated on that Forester contract. 'Cause I don't know which one is the last one. I may not have it.
Yeah, it went through, Laura. There's some emails,
Provided the selectmen 3 or 4 copies.
I know
Yeah.
it kept coming out,
No, you guys got the original, you got the fixed one from
Well-
Jeremy, you got the fixed one from Conservation, and you got the final one.
well, I'll have to look.
Fixed again.
okay, so I guess what we would be asking
Must be in my other, must be in
is
the other.
that,
Copy in the book.
can we, abide by what was already approved and finalize the contract?
Yes.
That's all we're asking. And just remind them that they waived the policy and that they already approved, at least in spirit,
Yep.
signing the contract. That's all. I just want to remind them of that, like formally. And they could say pound sand, and that's their prerogative,
I
So-
agree with that, then.
So I think Mike,
I can try again, and then we can second and amend. We'll make a motion that the Board of Selectmen review the February 3, 2020 meeting minutes, which show the Board of Selectmen waiving the town purchasing policy for forestry work, and also reviewing the April 4, 2022 meeting minutes, which show the authorization for a signature on the town forester contract.
and suggest that they sign a
And-
contract with
And
Medicine.
suggest that they sign the updated current version of that contract.
Awesome.
I'll second that then.
Thanks, Mike. That was Mark.
Yeah.
All right, discussion. That was well put, Mike. Good job.
Yeah, okay.
Or the Wi-Fi don't work there all tonight.
No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Yeah, well, that was a lot of work that we went through back in, I remember 2020, so
Yeah.
to not have to do all that again when it's already been agreed on would be nice.
Yeah, and then when we originally did it, it was like, because you can't really do sealed bid. Like, we had a bunch of proposals, and we didn't, we didn't know Jeremy. We didn't know, I know who a few of the people were. And it literally, like, narrowing down their proposals were foresters that just missed pieces of what we requested, It kind of boiled down to that sort of thing. And MTL was just like responsive to everything at the time. And it's not just Jeremy, it's MTL, there's more than, there's obviously more there than just him. But yeah, it was an arduous process. Hate to have to go through it again.
Do we know where we stand on this latest mess with the bidding process on the harvesting itself?
No, that's why we need counsel and have that discussion. I don't think that, we haven't, my understanding is nothing's gone back out for re-advertisement. I'm not really sure where we stand. We obviously haven't awarded a contract.
On hold.
Yeah, so that's a good way to describe it. I don't know, I've kind of missed.
I think it was discussed that they'll put it back out to bid next year. That's the last thing I heard.
So, yeah, I mean, just, I think we, you know, we need to have counsel and not make any mistakes. And I think in the future, we had really good intentions with the improvements down there, and I think we've got to be more careful on, you know, just dealing with contracts in general. So it's access to counsel for that as well. Yeah, so for, I think that's kind of the forestry stuff. We have MTL invoice approval, which I don't, do we have printouts of those, Naomi, or?
I didn't see an email from that.
It was, there was something from Jenny, and I asked her not to use my personal email anymore, which is a theme that
You
I'm,
guys get an email from Beth before your meeting.
this was from Jenny that went to Beth, and Andy, and me, and Andy gave the new email, town email, and, yeah, so I mean, I guess we haven't really seen anything from Beth.
But usually, doesn't she send you guys stuff before your meeting? About if
This
you
is that invoice that I was talking about. I got it to come out.
I don't want to touch the screen because it'll go away.
I haven't seen any invoices, just to go off of that.
Andy, those invoices a couple meetings ago, isn't that what we're trying to talk about now? Is that the ones? The three of them?
Yeah, that's three.
3, yeah.
Yeah,
I printed them out.
so this is something on the hourly, which
Right. But
it's related to that, but I don't know if, what he's trying to say, that this is like above and beyond. I don't know, I don't have the actual, so he's referencing the hourly, not the,
right, I understand
Yeah.
that, but it references something that was supposed to be under the,
I don't, and we'd have to ask him personally why that's billed versus not just covered. So it's a valid point, and if you don't want to pay it and, you know, say that question, that's, I wouldn't disagree with you.
Right, in answering your question, I'm not sure, and I don't have in front of me those invoices
We
from.
approved them.
Yeah, yep. And it might be that we're just fortunate this time and that we don't have a contractor who's been stiffed for a lot of work and been basically told you can't go forward on this, so eat it. So if that happened accidentally, maybe it's fortuitous. But I don't have the details in front of me, I'm sorry, on the latest approvals. And for whatever reason, cell phones that used to work in the building here are not, mine's not working so well tonight
Yep.
either, so
Mine just started working.
I can't pull that up. Or even the latest invoice, so sorry, I'm kinda hobbled on that tonight. Nor do we need the commission to move to approve an invoice that we've already approved, for work we've already approved. So it's kind of inherent when we approve the work, that we approve the payment for the work, that's where the decision point is.
I got it. It did, my phone started working. So just so you, so the one that got sent out was for $125 for an hour and a half. Job inspection at Eastman Field Mowing Project, travel, field review, correspondence on the hourly. So that's just managing that mowing project that we, and it's $112.50. So, yeah, totally makes sense.
Yeah, the being in limbo here on what has always been one way,
Right.
per RSA, Conservation Commission manages the town forest, you procure contracts, you pay for work. Is apparently now up in the air and we can't get an answer. That's terribly frustrating. It's a simple question. So, you know, whereas we worked in a fashion for a while, and then we had some questions, and then we worked in a fashion for a while, we're at another point of question. My presumption, try not to say assumption because that infers something, is that we'll get back to the point where we do our work, which is manage the forestry. But it's a huge question. Where are we to go with our ongoing management, unrelated to Felch at this point? And who says go or no? You know, if the selectmen say, well, we're uncertain here, so we want you to stop work in the forest. Stop your planning, stop your marking, stop your planning for harvest. Is it right of us to say, okay? And I did stand in front of the selectmen and say, look, I want to work with you guys. And so, you know, we will continue to show deference, but that doesn't mean we would be doing our roles well if we step away from our responsibilities as established by 36A and, what is it, 31-112 and the like. I hope that I don't hear that, you know, some sort of, similar to what I just ran into tonight, that we need to tell the town forester, stop your work. Just don't incur further costs, because that would be ruinous to the continuity of forest operations that Ware has established a good reputation for active, reasoned, beneficial forestry. Now, if the selectmen want to, you know, engage in a tug of war, you know, one thing to do is to say, look, we're not going to engage. Another thing to do would be to say, let's get information. And the other thing to do is say, look, while we're in this gray zone, we're going to continue our work. We're going to continue paying our bills, doing the things that are part of active forest management. I, as a status troubled, apparently, member, think that we are being pushed into a place of irresponsibility. And I don't think we should go there, so I would encourage Vicia tonight to do as you've been doing, continue to manage the forest. You know, look at the invoices, look at the FSAs. I'm sorry I don't have things to lay out for you tonight that make things a little bit clearer. But I think we're in sound place to continue working with our current team. If we are not, you know, that's what we need to hear. I was blindsided. I walked into a meeting thinking we were going to be able to rebid this based on prior meeting, and I walked out of the meeting finding out this was a meeting with the selectmen that, no, we're not going to agree to this moving forward despite the recommendation of the commission. We're going to put that on hold, and we're going to suggest to you that it's an easy process to put this forestry contract back out to bid. And that flummoxed me. That was out of left field, and honestly, for the record, I should have said, you know what? With all due respect, Selectmen, that was not on the agenda for tonight. And I think you're out of order to make that request and then to dumb it down and say, well, this is a very simple thing. You should be able to, you know, get it taken care of, and if MTL wins, great. You should be able to get it taken care of in 3 weeks and proceed with your harvest. Did not add up. So we've tried joint meetings with the selectmen. We should keep trying, but we still are very far from being on the same page as far as I can tell. So I admire your work tonight. I wish I were in the thick of it with you, but when it comes to act down, I mean, the invoices tell what's being done. People aren't perfect, and we need to, you know, be on the lookout for errors and omissions and all that good stuff. But MTL has done good work for us. To imply otherwise is off base. We've admitted some mistakes. We've made recommendations to go forward.
16 years, you're going to make a mistake or two here or there.
We
Yeah.
no, admit them. We're not trying to hide anything. We're not trying to finagle a deal, but we've had good service. In my estimation, very responsive, very forward-looking for the health and well-being of the forest and the town as a whole. We've sometimes even see yields coming with a particular award well in advance of what we thought they were gonna be. So these aren't lump sum bids, these are subject to the vagaries of the market and the forest, and I think we need to get that fundamental answer and need to reestablish, you know, basically who's making these decisions, and you guys have expressed that tonight, and, you know, I just concur with you as a resident at the podium this evening.
Thanks, Andy.
So this has developed in a very inopportune time, with, you know, folks absent on the Board of Selectmen too. But I know we are, do better work, we cover more ground, we've got a broader experience if all of us weigh in on it, so. Thank you, Ray, thank you, Mark, for weighing in. State your concerns, and even within this body, you know, we don't need to be 100% eye to eye, but confident enough in our respect for each other that we can voice our concerns, our experiences, and, you know, work through to a better end. And that's not for any one person here, that's for the town. I think every one of us could walk away from this with our heads held high, saying we did good work. And it gets very, in times like these, very unsatisfying, as we are challenged, and we are, to some degree, put upon. And let's keep up with the challenge, let's keep working with our, you know, our town leadership. I think, you know, Steve being back with us from out west, I think that's good for the town, and, yeah, next steps, we're gonna need some advice. We're gonna need to pursue that, and to receive that from the town as best we can, and if it can't be provided from town council, we need to know that. It's not a new question. I mean, these things are, you know, like almost all law, it's over and over and over again, just reminders. So, thank you for entertaining what became a ramble, but the short of it is, we've got an invoice, we don't need additional authorization to prove those invoices, but when we receive an invoice, I want to share it with you guys. If you notice something I don't, please, please, please let me know. And if there's something that doesn't line up, then we say, hey, you know, folks working for us, this doesn't line up, please explain it, change it, adjust it so that it does correspond better with what we've agreed to or our expectations. Thank you.
Thank you.
So as far as conveying to the selectmen our motion, I mean, we'll have minutes, how long do?
5 business days.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess when our minutes come out, and then I'll just maybe forward them along to the Board of Selectmen, or if you get a chance to hand them to them, or, yeah, we have a Board of Selectmen here, but just a reminder, or I'll remind Sherry. Okay, good discussion, thanks. Okay, another one near and dear to my heart. So I've brought this up before, and I know we had a discussion about the cost to it, and frankly, I don't care at this point. I'd really like to see the town give us our, you know, town emails. I'm not going through that again. It was a fiasco going through, trying to use Yahoo and exporting stuff, and, so what'd you say, Naomi, it's $5 a month?
So the emails are very simple. I mean, I've got conservation forwarding to all of you, and Andy or the chair has a where NH one, right?
Right, but I'm done with that. I mean, I don't want,
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
when you reply, which I thought you were not going to reply, it was a informational email to all of you, because business shouldn't be done via email, right? Technically.
and I mean, you have,
You have one spokesperson, so you could reach the person that has the town email to reply.
No, not for, you're still using your own email to do town business, reaching the person with the town email, but the problem is like,
Only when you reply is there a question. If I disseminate information to the board, which I do, they don't reply back, it's information out, we talk about it at the next meeting.
so that's not what I'm saying. I mean, we have to interact with vendors, we have various projects.
There is a conservation chair at warenh.gov, which is where all your business should be conducted.
We certainly haven't done it that way.
But that's what we did as a workaround.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I mean, I guess people can mail, if that's a problem, getting town email address, everybody just send me stuff via US mail, because I don't want anything going to any of my personal stuff for any reason, as of tonight, that's it.
We set up with planning board, I did that way, I did the zoning board that way, and it's to get the information out to them, not necessarily to reply.
Yeah, but I mean, this is 2023, I mean, what does it cost to get emails for everybody? A town.gov or whatever it is.
I mean, I don't understand why everybody needs one.
I'm just telling you, I mean, we'll see how we operate without email, because I'm not using email, my personal email after tonight, this is it. So like I said,
I heard you loud and clear.
Here's a dumb question, Naomi, because I have a lot of stupid questions. When you emailed us and asked us if we had any emails regarding this thing we're going
Because
through,
I had to do it.
and then I replied back to you saying that I don't use emails, I don't talk to anybody by email, didn't I in effect make an email? So if they have if they want a right to know thing, are they gonna wanna know?
A lawyer has put in a right to know request.
Right.
I have to ask it for you guys all.
Yeah, but when I answered with my personal email back to you saying I don't email anybody, was that considered an email? Would they need that information?
Yeah, I'll print it off.
Ah, so you'll have that.
Yeah,
I don't have it.
print it off.
So, Naomi, so when you emailed us that request, anything that we had, that had Jeremy Turner's name in it?
Well, it wasn't just that. The one thing I'm gonna suffer with is I don't know where 10 years worth of stuff is.
we don't have it. I mean, this paper,
Why wouldn't, we're supposed to have it.
yeah, no one's ever taught us any of that. I remember saying a bunch of different
And it's
times.
a learning curve. I mean, we all
Huh?
have made mistakes along the way. We're all volunteers. You guys are all volunteers.
Literally, when we stopped filing a lot of paper stuff is when that junk went downstairs. When he used to live up there in the conservation room, I bet you that file is like, bang, cut off that day, because it's a hellhole.
Cabinets are all still downstairs.
I know they're down there, I'm saying, since they got,
He is in the conservation network.
but since they got moved down there, it's like, I've probably been down there twice in the dungeon. We used to, used to put a lot of
That
stuff,
still doesn't excuse it. I can't just say we don't have them.
we literally, yeah, I mean, that's the
not the
thing.
problem.
I know.
And it's human error, it's an error. I
Well,
just don't know how to get it.
I remember asking, if we had a town electronic file, which we don't. Yeah, and that's kind of,
We haven't, we by right should be downsizing the paper load.
Yeah.
And we should be having digital scanning,
yep,
because it would be nice to have access to the building files or anything else digitally. And we have a
Right.
scanner big enough now to do plans. It's just money to have somebody come do it, because we can't do it. It's the money to get somebody to come in and do all of the digitizing.
yeah,
This New England document, there's all these other people, for thousands of dollars that come do that.
yeah.
We just don't have it amongst the 7 or 8 people that are here.
But our new stuff, like, contracts, whatever, anything, it's pretty easy to put them into a PDF and drop them somewhere if we had a place to drop them to. And I asked that question before, and, we didn't have it, and I guess we still don't have it. And I honestly don't think much has gone in that paper file in years.
But like, when a bid goes out, all of the bids, even that people submit, we should have a file for it.
I think Jeremy's got all that,
Right, but I'm not getting any answer, so.
yeah. And that's a question, like, what do we own, what do they own at that point? And we should, the bids, we should,
Technically, it should be ours.
right,
It's for us.
right.
I realize he's a private business and that's fine, but like I said, we've got some things to tighten up, we've got some things to work on together. There's a lot of mistakes, there's
Yeah.
been mistakes, it's not the only board that makes mistakes. Selectmen, we make mistakes. and this pointing the finger doesn't help anybody. You know, but I have an obligation, as the town, we have an obligation to supply the information that we have. And when I can't get 10 years' worth of bids, you know as well as I do, somebody's got paper somewhere that says, I have this from 1980, you know, that's more than 10 years ago, that says you guys put this out to bid, and I want them to see the bids.
Yeah, we haven't gone downstairs, but I don't think there's anything that new in there at all.
Yeah, I don't keep track of them. I've helped you guys along the way, putting your bids out, putting it in the paper, trying to do everything.
Mm.
And all I get is shit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we don't,
And that's
I don't know
not
what that
right.
is.
I mean, I'm sitting here, I haven't been home since Sunday. I came right here so I could live stream. Because everybody wants to know what we're doing,
All right.
you know? But there's,
I mean, we're gonna have to try to get that from MTL, you know,
I
that's,
just don't know, I don't know how many there is, I don't even know. You know, like I said, I helped Jeremy do it, but I never,
I mean, so we have all the accounting records of the deposits for every timber sale, so that's in, you know, I mean, you can kinda
yeah.
figure it
and we
out
can-
from that.
And we can kind of try to piece it together.
Yeah, it's a pain, right?
But I don't know, if push comes to shove and we end up standing in front of a judge, what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, I don't know,
You know, and that's where
all right.
trying to tidy up everything and kind of keep it transparent and open and, you know, try to keep everybody on the same page, and that's why I even focus with the board, and I send them stuff, but it's a one-way send.
Right,
You know, because really, we shouldn't be conducting email, we should be doing it out on the table for everybody in the World Wide Web to watch.
I think no matter what, though, when you're working on projects, whether it's the trail project, forest management plan, that stuff's gonna get emailed. The town doesn't have the technology to, you know, put it, like, some of the newer, like, Microsoft products, you know, you could have it in one location and everybody could get on there and make comments and
There's
stuff.
like Google Docs, there's
Yeah,
Google Docs,
we're just not set up with
there's all
that stuff.
sorts of things.
Yeah,
The only thing is, I think the more you do that, the more the hijackers are out there, and that's how I feel, you know?
yeah, maybe so, but even learning curve just within committees,
There's just so much to,
right,
you know, look at, I mean, I went to a conference in Maine, and we were talking about in New Hampshire for $2.3 million is cyber attack. New
Hmm.
Hampshire lost 2.3 million, small town in New Hampshire loses $2.3 million, we were talking about it.
amazing.
Because of somebody hijacked it and someone just did it. You know, it's unfortunate, but your insurance company only covers enough money, so I don't know what that community did, but when you go to a conference in another state and you pick that, it's a little bit different.
So kind of back to the, you know, the email thing. I mean, literally, if it's $5 per member,
It
Per
was
month.
5, I don't know if it's up or down, Steve, because of the number. You know, a lot of times when you group by, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't know.
so if we
I
could,
can check on the current number.
if we can, for now, just, get everybody an email account, and then we can ask for it in our annual budget to cover that amount from here on out. We could just use, do we have enough in the budget right now to use? I don't know, yeah. But I mean, if members, that's, because I really, you know, because the problem, like, if the town owns that email, I don't care. I mean, somebody can just grab the PST or however that store and take it for whatever they need, I don't care. But it turns into a nightmare when I'm fishing through my own email and 17 years worth of emails trying to answer some, and believe me, Yahoo does not work with this kind of thing at all. It was, because that's why I asked about some assistance, but, you know, it was,
I think this was asked before, but can you have multiple users on one email address? So is Steve able to access that email
I don't know.
that's set up?
If Andy had the same problem, it took us a while to be able to access the new ones. You know what I mean? There was different, and then it goes through some proof point scan that captures everything in the world, and I don't know if there's access. I don't know that question. I know you can, if the access, then you put it on another device, but I don't know. Like, I have my email here on my phone.
Steve, you're the point guy with MTL really, right?
Well, that's my thoughts, right?
it's not just MTL though, it's big picture stuff, you
No,
know?
what I'm saying
Yeah.
is for now, for what we got going on, Can you reach out to Jeremy and see if we can
I
get some help?
included him in the email, I was hoping.
Oh, you mean on the actual, he was on vacation for 2 weeks.
See if we can get that on its way to try to get this resolved.
Yeah, but let's,
I think one of the problems there, Jeremy was CC, he was not in the addressee list. So it might be worth making a direct request of MTL, especially, I don't know, do we consider them,
They must have a folder on where.
well, all right,
especially if they're under contract, they provide stuff. If they're not under contract, like some people are saying, it gets the whole thing screwed up.
yeah, so on the, I mean, that all is gonna get billed on the hourly, but anyhow, the thing that, you know, so this is, problem is not having counsel. So Naomi's right, we own something, you know, some part of that, FSAs or whatever. But in the bids, but we didn't pay, you know, because I remember, you know, in the meeting here, talking about getting this stuff organized in a place that we could all get at it. Again, you know, my thought was electronically, but we don't have that. So they gave us a bunch of half-signed FSAs, but that's not the ones I was after, you know, it's the ones that Andy signed, and those are the ones that are really formal. And then, you know, even like the forest management plans, all this stuff has to go somewhere. So, but I think back to this thing, I really like to, I think it's important for all of us to have just the town email that you're using. You know, you're doing town work, and if it costs $5 a piece a month for what you're worth an hour, what you're worth an hour, what Sherry's worth, Mike's worth, that's piddly. You know, the dedication you put into it, and that way, if there is something like this comes up, great, here's everything I did, take it. You know, you're not fishing through your own stuff. That's kind of always been the point on
We've
that.
had people set up a separate email.
But you still own that personally. I want the town to own it, you know, for town stuff, I just want it to be the town's, I want to be clear of it. When I walk away and, you know, walk out the door, I want to be done with it. It's a town record, you know, so whatever the filing is, I mean, I just suggest that we, you know, for now, if it's $7 a month a piece, you know, dedicate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, she already has a Ware and H bill.
I
Aha,
have one.
Because of being on the board. And that's what
Saving us.
happens on some of your other boards, when they have an ex officio, they already have a Ware and H package.
saving us some money, Sherry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, basically, so we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so $35 a month
Well,
times,
there's already one out there.
okay.
There's one dedicated for conservation chair at wareandh.gov.
Okay, so now we're down to 4. So if we can do 4 times $7 a month,
And every time you add a member, you gotta add an email.
right. But right now, there's only 4 of us that need
We have
one.
a request for someone to join.
We have a request?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got a request forwarded to me.
Oh, I saw it.
Oh,
I
but they
can't
did-
think of the guy's name.
They didn't come though, tonight, or?
No,
No.
I think it came while I was gone.
Yeah, I think within the last week, I saw it.
So it's someone that didn't realize that you were a 7-person board, saw 6, and didn't wanna just sit around as an alternate, so.
Oh, but they should,
That's what I understood.
Yeah.
I could have totally missed, you know,
I think,
totally read an email 700 different ways.
yeah, I mean, it's always nice that they come in and say hi and kind of, I think that's the way we've typically done it, but,
Yeah, I'll get that.
yeah, maybe next meeting. So do we need to, I mean, ideally, we would, if we need to pay for it out of conservation or out of the budget, you know, initially out of the budget, but then work it into the annual budget for next year, to say, you know, in future years, we would say like $600 for emails or whatever it is.
We have a line item for technology, don't we?
I think we do, yeah.
It's not a lot, but can we use that?
For right now, we
Yeah.
could, so it's like
Now and
going,
then update it.
Yeah.
That's
with
what I'm
it,
saying.
Increase it in March,
okay, so
CIP or something.
can one of you make a motion that we all get, a conservation email assigned and, use the technology budget until we expend it, and then we could cover any difference between, you know, if that runs out before the end of this fiscal year, then we would just use conservation and then get the full amount in next year's proposed budget.
And hope it passes.
Yeah, or use conservation again.
You're gonna use your operating budget for that.
What's that?
You're gonna use your operating budget for your email.
I'm suggesting someone make a motion to do that, yeah,
Mike, you're awful good at that.
yeah.
Thought somebody else was gonna take a turn here.
Our operating budget has been used to the extent of like 5% for
Yeah.
years running.
Yeah, so we should be good to go for a while.
Did somebody make a motion?
No, Mike's working on it over there.
Should have paid closer attention.
I kicked you so to wake you up.
We're going home before 9, Mike, if you hurry.
I'm trying. Make a motion that the Conservation Commission members have emails assigned to them individually and to be paid for out of the conservation operating budget,
Town emails.
town emails.
Second that.
Okay, sounds good. And then discussion would be, do you mind modifying that and to cover any gap for the rest of the fiscal year with a conservation account?
And any gap incurred this year will be covered with the conservation
Account.
account.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
We usually call it conservation fund.
Oh, whatever. You can do that when you're in chair someday.
Who said that?
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Okay, Naomi, any word on the asbestos abatement RFP?
I'm supposed to be working
Oh.
on that, and I haven't.
Okay, punt that till next meeting.
Yeah.
You got,
I got the paperwork that you gave me, and I contacted,
Warren, Ms. Warren?
yeah, but that's all I did.
Okay.
And I wanted to draft something that I could bring to the meeting, then we could all go over it. And I guess I'm going back to my old school days where homework is procrastinated on, so I've been working 7 days a week, so I haven't done that.
Why put off till, why put off till tomorrow what you can put off till the day after tomorrow, right? Good job. Okay, so, we got minutes that we're supposed to approve. I personally haven't looked at any of these. I wasn't here the August 9th.
Well, I skimmed them all. I went through them all today. I actually sat for quite a while and just read through them, but you know what? Stuff from March and July, I have a hard time remembering exactly, unless it's a spelling thing, which I didn't see anything that was gross there through spelling. I can't remember stuff back in March. Hate to say it, but I don't remember the detail.
But you welcome the motion, approving them as is, or whatever you guys want to do. I don't really have to abstain, but I wasn't here the 9th. I'll just
Yeah, I
make that
wasn't
clear.
here July or August, so I was gonna abstain from those.
Do we really need to do that just to approve them, though?
Probably not.
Yeah, I think we're all right.
It's water over the bridge, right? Up
Right.
under the bridge.
Yeah,
It's done.
it's somewhere.
It's somewhere.
I had a chance to read them.
So do you want to hold off, or do you want to?
Table them till next month.
Okay. Sounds good. Table them to next month.
And they're on the website, correct?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
did you sign up for that e-subscribe?
No.
If you go to our website and you e-subscribe your news, you can click off whatever you wanna get for email, so once we put it on the web, you get an email.
Okay.
But you have to put in your email address.
But if you were personally
Personal
getting
one, your
emails
personal
from
address.
just town stuff, that would not be 91A, because you're just getting
Because we
information.
offer the e-subscribe
Yeah,
for
yeah.
information purposes,
Right.
but it does ask for your email that you want it to be sent to, so every time, and you can click off, there's things that are on there that we don't even have committees for, economic, agriculture, but you can do agendas, you can do minutes, you can do bids, you can do, God only knows, you'll just see a list and click off what you want, and we have people that, an email comes in, they'll look at it and then they discard it, cause it's really nothing to them.
Right.
But if you wanna know what's going on in other boards or committees or whatever, you just check off what you wanna know.
Perfect. I
It's
didn't know
very
that.
easy to do that. They're all up on the website right now.
Good enough. Want you to look up, right?
Oh, great.
Ask Jonathan, he'll show you.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah, I mean, I think, short of any emergencies or anything, our next regularly scheduled meeting is gonna be October 11th. Unaware of anything really in between unless,
It's my understanding you may have a plan or two to look at, but because somebody emailed and said they got plans here, so, while I was gone. You may have a plan to look at it.
does the paper one here somewhere?
I don't know if it's on my desk or on someone else's desk. It's just said that someone applied for the next meeting.
This,
Meaning,
this meeting.
October.
meaning,
Something to look forward to.
something to look for, thank you.
Oh, thanks, Naomi. I'm glad we can look forward to that. I mean, the suspense is gonna kill me.
Yeah, we haven't had a plan for a while.
That's okay.
Did we have anything on the county property? Have we heard anything on the?
No, we were, that's one of the things that's supposed to go to Laura.
On the what?
County,
Property.
I thought you said town.
county. No. I mean, there are a couple of these type things hanging, which would be nice to get some FaceTime with her, because there's also, we had, let's see, the problem with, Cortland, whatever it is, that open space development, never monumented, we never got that hammered out, right?
He's never come back to put the road in.
I know, so do they, you just keep their bond?
It's still private, yeah, we don't.
So, I mean, like, do we get to cash their bond, and can we just pay for getting the survey done out of that, or when do they lose their money?
I don't know exactly how quickly that happens, but they haven't finished the top coat on the road either, so we haven't set.
Because think about that, right, if you, all right, so, if the bond, if whatever we made in bond exceeds the current cost to pave that thing, then he's smarter just to walk away and stuff us with it, you know?
It would, but he would never get a bond again, so.
Is that how that
unless
works?
he oh, yeah. Once you default on a bond, you're done.
But do they just open another company or something, or how do you do that?
No, because they ask for your personal information. It's
Oh,
very
really?
hard. You
Is it?
could,
Yeah,
but it's really, really hard to do that. I don't know monetarily if it's worth all the trouble. The bond is a pretty serious thing.
so does the town engage with him at all and say, when are you gonna do this?
I think the engineer has sent a couple of letters to him.
Okay,
'Cause, you know, there needs to be a walkthrough for a outstanding list.
it's been like years, you know?
Yeah,
So,
must be 4 or 5, isn't it?
I don't know.
This house is
No.
already flipped in there.
been a
Finished,
while.
I think it's only been a couple of years. They finished the project. Finished the
Yeah.
houses.
They finished the last house.
Yeah,
Last
finished the
house,
last
yeah,
house.
but they started, didn't they start like 4
They've
years?
already flipped a couple of them.
So the town has done some, the town has done some very stupid things in the past, accepting and signing deeds before monuments were placed. We have the same problem at Duck Pond. Yeah,
We had the same problem with Hilburn, but we did that one before. That one was done, and that was the model that we chased after,
yeah,
because we did all of those monumenting before, A, we accepted taking over maintenance, and B, releasing any money.
yeah.
That was the whole, keeping everybody doing the same thing.
So, yeah, I mean, we got that issue. I'm not sure that we ever completely finalized the encroachment issue down at,
Brookshire.
yeah.
NTL gave us the, report on that.
Yeah,
And pretty much there, other than that one driveway, everything else seemed to be, okay to their satisfaction.
yeah, yeah, there was that problem.
Yeah.
I forget, did the sprinkler system get removed?
No.
Yeah, so that's, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I think we kind of chose to ignore that. I think
Yeah.
last time we talked about it, which I don't know if that's right or wrong, but,
Yeah, so we'll go with the decision then.
yeah,
Enough of it had been taken care of that it wasn't worth pursuing.
yeah,
Did we do the Collins Ledge mowing plan yet?
no. Andy, got something?
Yeah, just Collins Ledge, we did ask NTL to take care of it.
Oh, this year we did? Okay.
And just wanted everybody to know, we were told via email that town council could provide 91A training. So we might want to turn that around and make a formal request of the selectmen for 91A training by the town council.
Yeah, I think that was part of, kind of,
Was it
without
explicit?
saying that, yeah.
Was it explicit?
Yeah, well, we could add that on there.
Yeah.
Good suggestion. So, good point. We should all really have some of that, you know, anyone, just, I saw some other towns have actual policy letters.
So before we leave tonight, somebody's gonna reach out to Jeremy Turner, request all the paperwork from all the other bid jobs that we've done? Is that what you were saying?
That's what Naomi was mentioning, and,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm happy to check with them, you know, they're in this very same odd situation we are now too, where, you know, he's probably gotta talk to some council and see what, cause I don't know, like, what stuff he has to provide under this or us, but yeah, I mean, it would be nice to get those records, and then,
Yeah, but as us being a customer of his,
We should have a copy of everything anyway.
a request that we would, for that should be straightforward.
Yeah.
and Where a customer is and.
you don't think we already got, I mean, so we probably already got all this and mismanaged it, so the other thing, I guess, you know, the authorization would be, if you want me to contact Jeremy, not with my own email, and
Send
ask
a
him,
letter.
break out a typewriter too, to, just so it's not like, you know. My mother used to do that for me, yeah, I miss those days. Anyhow, so, we would need to recognize that in the likelihood that we already got this stuff, this research for them to go back is gonna be on the hourly, so,
Never cost.
yep,
But we need
Yeah.
to get it.
yeah,
and,
okay,
It would seem to me that we need to make that happen.
yep.
But Steve, have you seen, when we put a job out to bid, and the bids all go to him, to Jeremy, do you see the other bids? Have you ever,
Remember, yeah, we got the spreadsheet,
For this one.
for this one, but not before?
I'm not sure,
I've never seen it,
I don't know, I couldn't, just like you said with the whole,
just this
remember.
last one. It's the only
Well, I
one I've
remember it
seen.
because it's the most recent one,
And that's because it was requested.
It was requested, I've never seen them before.
I don't know.
I don't know, have you, Andy? So see, we don't even know what the bids are and what's coming in, and,
Right, so we might have just seen the winning bid,
Hiring somebody to do the work for you.
yeah,
We
Yeah, but I think-
terribly inept at doing this stuff ourselves, so we get value return.
That's why
Having
we
somebody
hired
do
someone
this
to
for
do
you.
that, so now we need that information, we need to ask them for that information.
I agree,
Because we've hired them to do that for us.
right,
Did we do something different this time where it implied that the town is putting a job out to bid publicly?
Yeah.
we need to,
Then the rules of that sort of bidding weren't followed. That's where we have a problem.
and you're right, and you're both right, but you know, this is where I think we need counsel, because I think we're screwing the whole thing up pretty royally, you know, a lot of it was apparent, I mean, it was, like, I think we're talking, the July meeting, that a sealed bid would either be opened, you know, next time here or at the following selectmen meeting to kind of fix that, but I think we need to get guidance from council, what the whole process should look like, and then, like, I have, you know, I know, like, my other job, the records retention,
Yeah.
and, but it's set up for you where it has like a rule for this kind of record, you have to keep it this many years, I don't have a clue, I mean, we haven't been keeping, other than, the you know, the minutes are posted on the internet, and like, you know, for my other job, I mean, the stuff that is like a legit permanent record, it goes in the special place, you know? We don't have that. And then, like I said, I mean, our stuff moved to the dungeon, which Naomi used to work in the dungeon when I first got on the committee, remember? Yeah, it's pretty rugged down there. There's probably stuff growing on our records. Oh, yeah, guaranteed, guaranteed. It's nasty, so I don't get down there.
We pay JP Fest.
Yeah, remember the cops were down there too, and it was like, yeah,
police were there, and
yeah.
land was down, the land,
But it's just a matter of, we used MTL and Jeremy to do that. We hired his expertise to do that work for us,
Yep,
and we trusted what he's done. There's no reason we need to change, but it's a matter of, there's a request for information we don't have that he should have.
But his records retention, because I know I asked him for like that really old agreement, and he didn't have that, because it's like 15, 16 years old. So I don't know what MTL's record retention is, because we didn't say, you know, we haven't said, keep all this stuff for 10 years for us, you know? I don't have a clue what the record retention requirements are, and that, you know, I was fishing around for that, so we
Most
need,
places, we keep it 7 years, I mean,
that's a tax thing though.
right, but I mean, that's kind of rule of thumb is,
Yeah.
Where's state law for record retention?
Yeah, I've started to look at,
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Saying digital, I was looking for.
uh-huh,
We used to have a document record retention committee
yeah,
that would overlook the RSA and decide what we kept, what could go,
yeah.
and we haven't had that. I mean, Maureen does her best doing it.
I just browsed it the other day, and it was like, some stuff is permanent. I mean, our stuff is probably, I don't,
Some stuff is
yeah,
forever,
yeah.
some 7, some 5.
Yeah, so it's not,
It depends on like what it is. and-
our files were not set up that way. It's literally like, you know, just toss crap in there, and then they move down there and stop tossing crap in.
There's greater stipulation on records for my 14-year-old daughter working at the lake than there are for this commission.
Right, and we've never had training on it in all my years, and never even talked about it, so other than, you know, like I said, mention if we have somewhere, and it was more out of convenience to put plans, and stuff like that, you know? But yeah, good discussion, so I mean, I'll give him a call and, ask him, or I might write him a letter, or,
Another
Not-
pigeons.
Not that funny, actually. Making light out of something that's not that funny. But hey, if you can't smile once in a while, I guess. So yeah, we'll try to track down what we can. So, yeah, I think, do we want to take up Andy's, suggestion that we request 91A training as well?
I think we should,
Yeah.
because it, we should know how to handle it and how to probably our correspondences and how they should be handled.
Yeah, I struggle with, looking, you know, immediately go look on the internet and run across the 9 million different opinions of what even is applicable or not. And I think ultimately, I'd like to hear that from council.
Well, the town, I think the town needs a policy on what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, yeah, and even to be,
Selectmen are working on
Yeah.
a national policy.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, if only you want to just, do that as a motion, I guess, to request some 91A training from council. Get that in the minutes as a motion.
Make a motion that we ask the Board of Selectmen for some 91A training
From council.
from council.
Second.
So it's Mark and Ray. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. So I think that's, I don't know, I missed the 9 o'clock by like a minute, but any further business?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sounds good. Good deal.